Are you over 60 and ever asked yourself, why does she never seem truly happy? No matter how hard you work, how loyal you are, or how much you provide, something just seems off. If you've been there, you're not alone. I want you to stick with me because this could be the turning point in how you see your relationship and yourself. Many senior men have gone through the same frustration after decades of hard work, sacrifice, and love. You've been there for her through thick and thin. You've shown up day after day. You've cared for her, supported her, and given everything you have to make sure she feels safe, secure, and loved. You've created stability, built a life together, and worked hard to provide her with everything she needs. You've made sure everything is predictable and comfortable. Yet despite your efforts, she still seems dissatisfied, distant, or unsettled. Now you might be asking yourself, why is she never truly happy? What more can I possibly do? Here's the truth. It's not about you failing. In fact, many men, especially senior men, mistakenly interpret their partner's unhappiness as a direct reflection of their own failure. It's easy to think that no matter how much you try, how much you do, you're just not enough. But this belief can slowly chip away at your confidence and sense of self-worth. And that's where things start to go wrong. I'm going to tell you something that might be hard to hear, but once you understand it, things will become much clearer. This isn't a failure on your part. It's a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding that runs much deeper than surface-level frustrations. What you're experiencing is a deeper emotional gap, one that is often hard to see or even acknowledge. And once you understand this, you'll be able to approach the situation with more clarity and a lot less frustration. The issue you're facing isn't something you've necessarily caused, nor is it something you can fix with more effort. It's about a fundamental emotional need that might not be being met. Not because you're failing, but because you and your partner might be speaking different emotional languages. You're both struggling to understand each other's core needs and desires. Men are naturally problem solvers. We find solutions. We fix things. We make decisions. We're hardwired to handle problems and to fix them. But women? Women are wired differently. While we tend to seek peace and stability, they crave emotional depth. They want connection. They want validation. They want to feel emotionally seen and heard. As we get older, men tend to value comfort, routine, and stability. But women, especially as they age, continue seeking emotional stimulation. They need to feel seen, heard, and emotionally connected. When these two worlds clash, confusion arises. Men think they're doing everything right because they're providing stability, loyalty, and security. But here's where things get tricky. Women don't just measure happiness by comfort. They measure it by emotional fulfillment and connection. You can provide her with everything she needs on paper: financial security, a roof over her head, loyalty, and stability. But if the emotional connection is missing, it will never be enough. You might find yourself wondering, I've done everything. I've worked hard. I've been loyal. So why isn't she happy? And here's the answer. Women don't experience happiness the same way men do. For men, happiness often means peace in the absence of conflict. But for women, peace isn't the same as connection. Emotional fulfillment isn't about the absence of conflict. It's about the presence of emotional depth and connection. As we age, men tend to simplify our emotional needs. We value stability and comfort. But for women, especially after 50 or 60, their emotional needs deepen. They reflect more deeply on their life choices, their dreams, and what they've missed out on. That reflection doesn't mean they're dissatisfied with you. It means they're confronting themselves, their unfulfilled emotional needs, and sometimes their unmet dreams. And often the man closest to them becomes the mirror for those emotions. You might notice this dissatisfaction coming out of nowhere. You're thinking everything is fine, and suddenly she's distant, unhappy, or emotionally withdrawn. But the truth is, many women aren't unhappy. They're emotionally restless. They're not bored with you. They're bored with the emotional predictability, the routine, the lack of emotional curiosity. Men often think that long-term love should be comfortable, and it's easy to get caught in the idea that stability is all that's needed. But love, especially as time goes on, needs renewal. It needs emotional depth. It's something that many men don't realize until much later, when the emotional gap starts to feel more like an emotional chasm. The problem is, women don't always express this dissatisfaction directly. Instead of saying, I feel disconnected, they may start nitpicking small things. Your tone, your habits, the timing of things. You might hear it as nagging, but what she's actually doing is expressing frustration with the emotional disconnect she feels. When men dismiss this as irrational or unimportant, the gap grows even wider. And here's where many senior men get stuck. They internalize her unhappiness as a personal failure. They think, no matter what I do, she's never happy. And this belief erodes your confidence, your sense of masculinity, and your emotional openness. You withdraw, you get quiet, you stop engaging emotionally. And ironically, this only makes things worse because your withdrawal confirms her fears about the emotional distance between you. But here's the most important thing you need to understand. Her emotional dissatisfaction does not define your worth. It does not mean you failed as a partner. It simply means there's a mismatch in how the two of you experience and express emotions. And once you understand this, you'll realize it's not about fixing her feelings. It's about staying emotionally grounded. Your role in the relationship isn't to be her emotional savior. It's to stay grounded in your own emotional stability while allowing her the space to feel what she needs to feel. Emotional leadership doesn't mean solving her emotions. It means being present with her emotions without panicking, without withdrawing, and without trying to fix everything. This emotional steadiness will make a world of difference in your relationship. So how do you do this? It's simple, but not always easy. The first step is to stop thinking that you're responsible for her happiness. That burden is too heavy, and it's not yours to carry. Happiness is something she has to cultivate within herself, just as you need to cultivate peace within yourself. But what you can provide her with is something far more valuable: emotional safety. When she knows that you're emotionally steady, when she knows you won't run or withdraw at the first sign of emotional turbulence, something shifts. The tension dissipates. The connection deepens. Now, many senior men make the mistake of thinking that the absence of conflict means a happy relationship. But peace doesn't always mean happiness, and silence doesn't always mean comfort. Women need more than just the absence of conflict. They need emotional depth. And that depth is something you can create without sacrificing your own peace. It's about curiosity. It's about listening without defending. It's about being present without panicking. The most powerful thing you can do as a senior man is to remain emotionally grounded. When you stop chasing her approval, when you stop trying to fix her feelings, and when you start leading emotionally, you'll notice something incredible happening. You won't need to argue. You won't need to prove anything. You'll simply be emotionally available. And that's the peace you've been searching for. As senior men, we often assume we have to either emotionally surrender or emotionally shut down. But the healthiest approach is emotional leadership. Emotional leadership doesn't mean you give up your masculinity. It means you stand firm in your emotional stability while she works through her feelings. You don't need to be her emotional caretaker. You need to be her emotional anchor. Now let's put this into practice. The first step is to understand that her unhappiness isn't about you. It's about what she's feeling inside and how she's interpreting her emotional world. Often when she seems upset, it's not because of something you did wrong. It's because of what she's processing emotionally. And that might not even be clear to her. She could be grappling with fears, unspoken emotions, or needs that you're not aware of. Instead of reacting to her dissatisfaction with guilt or frustration, take a step back. React with calm and grounded presence. Men are natural problem solvers. But here's the truth. You don't need to fix her. You need to be there for her. By simply being present and offering your emotional steadiness, you create space for her to work through what she's feeling without adding more emotional chaos. You don't need all the answers. What she needs is to feel heard and seen. And here's what happens when you show up for her this way. Something remarkable unfolds. She feels heard in ways she hasn't felt before. That emotional connection that seemed to fade, it starts to thrive again. By showing up emotionally steady, you give her the safety to express herself without judgment or dismissal. Here's what I want you to take away. Stop asking how you can make her happy. Instead, ask yourself, How can I stay emotionally steady? How can I lead emotionally without losing myself? When you make this shift, you'll see the connection you've been craving with her isn't as hard to reach as you thought. It's not about grand gestures. It's about emotional attunement. It's about being present, calm, and grounded even when emotions are high. And in doing so, you'll create a peace that flows naturally between you both, deepening the bond you share. Remember, it's not about fixing her emotions. It's about being the anchor that stays steady while she navigates them. By staying emotionally grounded, you create a safe space for her and for you where true peace begins.